Hello there, all you miniatures lovers on the internet. I'm Dakian. I'm coming to you today in the middle of the week on a Thursday, actually the 29th of July 2021, to give you a quick update in the middle of the week about my painting. Because I've actually finished quite a lot already since Monday. And first off, we have the Dark Knight here with his glowing sword and all black attire. Hopefully you can't tell, but the highlights on the black are created by mixing with blue. Hopefully it doesn't read as blue, it just reads as shinier black. And the armor is dark metallics. It's a combination of a sort of a black metal from Wyrd with gun gray. I tried to do a slight OS. Maybe I should have done some research. Will flame make an OSL effect on black? I don't know. How do you think it looks? I'm interested. Then we have the Stormtroopers. Now, I did not paint the armor just like white plastic, because that would look weird in a medieval kind of setting. So I just went with the shiniest possible steel look, kind of like a chrome look instead, with much darker black metal chainmail in the other parts, because you know, the Stormtroopers, they're wearing some sort of black undersuit underneath their white armor, and so I wanted that combination of white and black. The fur on these doesn't look great, but oh well. I blame the sculpt. Yeah, I think they're okay. They're not fantastic, but I kind of like them. But that's not all I finished. Let's take a look at the next batch. We also have these Malifaux miniatures from the plastic 2nd edition Marcus crew. We have Marcus himself in the middle here. And I have gone sort of with the paint scheme that's on the box with the blue-gray. Not gone quite as pale, because on the artwork it all looked very washed out. So it's a slightly darker blue-gray. Here's Miranda. I don't know if her hair came out a bit too blue. I wanted to make it white, but not the blonde white, or more like platinum blonde than honey blonde. I don't know if it works, but you know, I think it's okay. And finally we have the Jackalope. We're adding some blood effects because it's a nasty little creature. It's otherwise a very simple model and not much to say about it, but there you go. Generally, the plastics for Malifaux so far that I've tried have, as a rule, been less complex than the metal models. The metal sculpts have had more intricate detail on them, but you know, the plastics can sometimes have more advanced poses, more complicated poses, because they're all multi-part models, and you can put them together more three-dimensionally. It's a matter of taste, which you prefer. Lastly, and perhaps most impressively, I've, through some intensive speed painting, actually finished these printed models. You'll recall that these were printed by a friend of mine on a filament printer. I forget the standard term for it. It's not resin though. And I did a very quick and dirty paint job on them. We have a cleric, we have a big rat here. And he, my friend, wanted to experiment on his own, so he took the rat figure, scaled it up, flipped it mirror image, you can see by the tail being in a different direction, and he changed the pose of it a little bit, so I had to build this base with rocks for it to be rearing up on. This is an absolutely monstrous rat. Yeah. And I think, you know, these are all acceptable tabletop quality. If you look at them from a meter or two away, they look perfectly fine. Now, especially this one close up, you can see that the detail is lacking, or that it's a bit rough. So it's not. I'm not disparaging it, but I'm just saying, if I ever get a 3D printer, and I probably will, you know, within the next year or two, I predict that I will be giving in and getting my own printer, but it'll be a resin printer. I want higher quality than this if I'm going to do my own prints. But at the price, which is basically nothing, I mean, the cost of the file to print it, which is cheap because I got it. I don't recall if I got this from a Kickstarter or from a Patreon, but either way, it's very heavily discounted. You know, less than $1 per model for the file, and the material cost, my friend said, is basically nothing when you have a filament printer. Resin is apparently more expensive, but still. So yeah, I think the experiment was a qualified success, and I'm not going to be sending him a ton of more files to print because you know, I don't need more minis to paint. But it's a way of showing that if you want to do minis on a cheaper printer, you can. You'll just have to, you know, skimp on the quality a bit. Anyway, that was a ton of finished stuff. Let's see what I'm still working on. Yeah, out of the previously started stuff, I'm down to these 4. A little bit more work done on metallics here. Not finished by any stretch of the imagination, but some coats of paint have been put on, and there will be more. Apart from, there's no new issues. I mean, I'm like I mentioned, was it last time or time before last, I had some issues with assembly, but I've sort of made my peace with that, and just gonna keep on trucking on these. And luckily, because there's only 4 of these, I have prepped a lot more new stuff, and well, let's go look at that. And finally, here's a look at all those Pulp Alley figures with some primer on them. Well, they'll be clean, based, and primed. And primed just now, actually. Waiting for it to dry and set before I start actually painting them. Looking forward to it. They're fun figures. So there's really nothing new in the mail still. It's not that I'm lacking for stuff to paint. It's just that I know there's a bunch of stuff on its way to me, and I guess I'm just kind of worried that it's all going to pile up and arrive at the same time, which will be a little bit annoying. But apart from that, there's still oodles and oodles of stuff in my backlog. I thought for this midweek update I would only start a very few new projects, and I was, because I painted these Malifaux minis recently, I was rummaging around in that part of my collection, and I found a couple that sort of stood out as kind of loose ends. I just like those Marcus minis. We have Zoraida, the alternate sculpt, the alt sculpt of Zoraida the Hag, who's here. Basically, the only thing from Zoraida's crew that I haven't painted. I painted and played with a lot of minis related to Zoraida back when I played the game, but I never finished this alternate sculpt. So why not finish it off? Then there's the Avatar of the Dreamer, the Avatar of Imagination. As you can see, this is still shrink wrapped even, which is a model not related. The Dreamer is not a crew that I collected ever or expect to start collecting anytime soon, just because I'm not interested in his models normally. I find them boring. But this is the exception that proves the rule. The Avatar model for the Dreamer is really cool. As you can see, it's half of, well, not even half, bits of a monster and the Dreamer himself on a bed coming out of this magical portal, which is seems like a really cool model. I haven't opened it up, as you can see, so I don't know yet whether it will be really cool or not, but that's what I'm hoping. So yeah, I'll start these up and hopefully have them prepped by Monday. And we'll see how much of the stuff you've seen previously that I finish. And that's a wrap for this episode, I believe. Hope you liked it. Give me a thumbs up, please. Share it, comment, subscribe if you haven't done so before. And see me here on this channel on Monday for the regularly scheduled Miniatures Ramble. Till then, Dakian is signing off.